Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via YouTube streaming, via Facebook streaming, and also via Skype online. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. I have the process of death. How does a person die? I had spoken yesterday to speak on this as a special feature. To you, death means different, but death is ultimate relaxation in totality, dissolving in the existence. I will speak in two ways, two parts. Firstly, how does an ordinary person enter into death? The process through which the life force is released from the body. And then, how did a particular sheikh, Naqshbandi sheikh, Lalaji Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, Ramchandra, entered into what you call death or samadhi on 14th of August 1931. Death happens when life force or pranavayu leaves the body as its dwelling house. Before birth, a process takes place: conception, fertilization, growth. It is exactly like conceiving a new house, and the entire process involved in the construction of house and making it a dwelling unit. The process is long enough. When the house is completely ready, according to the requirements and the taste of the one who has to live within, there is deco, the color of the paint on the walls. Everything is decorated according to the choice of the one who has to live in. And when all this happens, you enter the house. Something like this happens between your body and the soul or the prana or the life force or the indwelling spirit. It is the life force that has to dwell within the body. At the time of birth, indwelling spirit enters the body. The body needs to be cared for it to last a certain period of time. Earlier, the dwelling houses, they were made. There are certain different instructions that have to be followed. If the area is prone to earthquakes or floods, the material is different, The entire process of the construction undergoes a different process. The body needs to be cared for it to last a certain period of time without problems or ailments. Like the various, when a dwelling house is being constructed, various systems are put in place: the electrical system, the sewage, the water supply, the gas supply. You built these in the same way. In the body, there is respiratory system, digestive system, circulatory system, so on and so forth. Let me talk about one who dwells in this body. Know this as pranavayu or life force or Ellen White. This is the fundamental unit of the universal life, or Ellen White, or life force or life energy. This causes the movement of the breath in the living being. It is the hidden power inside everyone. We cannot see it, yet still its presence makes the body alive. Also, it lies everywhere, within and without, around us. It can be understood this way. Suppose you have to move an object from one place to another. You need some sort of energy to do this. In the same way, channeling the breath or energy into different organs of the body, there is a force working on breath called pran. What is this pran? The word pran is English spell of the Sanskrit word pran. So it has been adopted as it is in English language. It is made out of two roots. The prefix pra means constant, and na also means movement. It means movement. Pra means constant, and na, the last syllable, means movement. Hence the meaning of pran is constant movement. Constant movement without any obstruction, without any fail, it continues to move. Its functionality is continuous flow, and this makes it life force or vital energy. This constant movement begins working when a child is conceived in a mother's womb and then leaves the physical body at the time of death. Pran creates a special body in an embryo to develop physical organs, including 5 sense organs and mind as well. In this way, pran is superior to any other physical sense and even the brain. Where does the pran or the life force come from? In Hinduism, pran is said to stem from Atman. Another word for Atman is soul or true self. The soul perceives the experience of the physical world through working of the life force. Whether you are looking through the eyes, breathing through the nostril, sensing through the skin or other sense organs, or taking a decision through the brain, it is the pran or the life force that continues to work in the background. Every subtle mechanism of the body, it activates. In this way, soul experiences the physical world through the body and mind. As such, there are 10 types of pranavayu or life force, but for the moment I will speak only on 5. This is the pranavayu or the life force is divided into 5 based on functionality and the area of working. Each prana or the life force has its significance, and any sort of imbalance in their quantity may lead to improper working of the body and mind mechanism. Along with 5 life force, there are 5 subdivisions of these prana, also known as sub-life force. These subsidiary life force helps prana or the life force to remove any blockage from a specific part of the body. So using these different life force that function through a particular part of the body, certain blockages are removed. These 5 pranas are samana vayu. Vayu means life force or air. Literally, vayu means air. Second is pranavayu, apan vayu, udan, and vayan. These are the 5 types of life force. I'll take these one by one. Saman means equal. Equal in the sense of balancing the air. The solar plexus, it is through the solar plexus or this center that you are connected to mother's womb through the umbilical cord. When this channel and the center, through this channel and the center, you are being nourished while you were in mother's womb. Now with the birth, you have to re-establish this connection with the existence. Once you are born, this connection with the mother's womb is severed. Now the process of spiritual growth, you have to establish connection with the cosmic womb for the nourishment in the form of different pranavayus, life force. This pranavayu saman is occupied between the working areas of pran and apan vayu. It has not any movement in an upward direction, but it only works into a particular area. It basically focuses on fire element of the body, and therefore it stimulates the solar plexus. It exists, and now at the time of death, first saman vayu is released. It takes 21 to 24 minutes for it to exit the body, and that much time doctor takes to determine whether the person has really died or not. The body starts getting cool, but there is a certain part of the body that remains still warm. So the life force has not exited really. Within 21 to 24 minutes, the life force, the saman vayu, is released from the body. The body begins to get cooler. It is responsible for the energy utilized in digestion process, working of digestive organs like stomach, liver, large intestine. Its cooling down mechanism balances the heat generated in the digestive process. The navel or the solar plexus is the working area of this life force. Although it takes care of the complete organ, that is between diaphragm and navel, but it works through the solar plexus. Whenever there is an imbalance in this life force or saman, it can disturb your appetite, which can further make you weaker. It also affects the metabolism and deficiency in the body. There are certain yoga postures that help in balancing this. I will not go into those at the moment because the focus is on the process through which life force exits the body. So first, the saman vayu, which works at the solar plexus. It is responsible for the digestive system. It is released and it takes 21 to 24 minutes to exit the body. The body begins to cool down, yet still there remains warmth in certain parts of the body, and that much time doctor takes to determine whether the person has completely died or not. The second is pranavayu. It begins with the letter small p. It is the foremost life force in the body. The pathway of this life force flows in the upward direction. It can also move downwards in its, and then it can also move downwards in its working area region. Pranavayu is also considered to lie at the center, which is third eye center between the two eyebrows. There are certain characteristics of this life force, and it takes 48 to 64 minutes to exit the body at the time of death. So first, the saman vayu is released from the body, which functions from the navel source. Second is pranavayu, which functions through the third eye center. It takes 48 to 64 minutes to release. It is responsible for the working of the respiratory system, including the pumping of the heart, primary inhalation and exhalation process. Other than this, it also helps in swallowing and the digestion, the regrouping process of the food. It balances certain psychological and physiological activities like eye concentration, emotions, and mental consistency. It works in the region between the diaphragm to the throat. The first saman vayu works from diaphragm down to the navel or the solar plexus center. Pranavayu, or the second life force, works between diaphragm and the throat center. It is the seat where resides mainly the heart. Any kind of imbalance in the quantity or a blockage in the pranavayu can lead to depression, low feeling, and heart-related problems. The third is Udan Vayu or Udan life force. Udan means, it is a Sanskrit word, it means in English to fly. Fly in the sense of movement. With the help of this life force, you can move the different organs of the body. For example, moving or rolling the hand through the shoulder, rounding the head and kicking through the legs. All these are possible because of this life force or the Udan Vayu. It is responsible for balancing the throat center, which is known as Vishu, the center of expression. It takes, now the life force has to exit from this center as well, and it takes 6 to 12 hours for the life force to exit from the body at the time of death. So death is not a momentary, certain things happen, and because of these, Hindus suggest certain rituals, certain things to be observed to complete the process of death. So the first Saman Vayu, that takes 21 to 24 minutes to release. It functions from diaphragm down to solar plexus. Second is Pran Vayu. It takes 48 to 64 minutes to exit. It works upward from diaphragm to the throat center. The third is Udan Vayu. It takes 6 to 12 hours to exit from the body. Up to this point, there are certain tantric techniques through which the body, you can revive the body once again. With these practices, there is every possibility that life force can be retrieved, restored. After this point, there is almost negligible possibility of reviving the body. So the first Saman, 21 to 24 minutes to exit. Pranavayu, 48 to 64 minutes to exit. Udan Vayu, between 6 hours to 12 hours to release. The Udan Vayu its function is different. It coordinates the neurons of the motor and sensory nervous system. This coordination helps in the proper movement of different organs of the body. Other than this, controlling the 5 physical senses are also comes within this life force. This functions in different regions of the body. It resides between neck to the back part, shoulder to fingertips, and from hips to the toe. That is the area where it functions. Different regions of the body resides between neck to the back of the body, from shoulder to fingerprints, and from hip to the toes. Then comes the fourth, Apan Vayu. It flows opposite to the Pran Vayu. Pran Vayu moves upward from diaphragm to the throat center. Apan Vayu, it's a downward movement. The practice of different pranayams or the breathing techniques is focused on redirecting upon Vayu to higher energy centers or the nerves. In a spiritual language, it is found to be in the base center or the earth center or Mooladhara. Upon Vayu takes 8 to 12 hours to exit from the body completely. This is why sometimes it happens. Although the doctors take 21 to 24 minutes to confirm the death of the person, the body begins to cool down, yet still a particular part of the body through which the life force can re-enter in the body, that is the solar, that is the Mooladhara or the earth center, that remains warm. And from this Apan Vayu, which is a downward movement, takes 8 to 12 hours to release from the body completely. It can happen, and it did happen at times, that the life force re-entered the body through the Mooladhara or the earth center. It is known for the elimination of the waste, gas and other excretionary systems at a time of childbirth. This particular life force or Apan helps to create a smooth passageway for the delivery. Other than this, Apan Vayu is also responsible for the sexual stimulation, ejaculation, and the monthly menstrual cycles for women. The seat of this is the pelvic floor. It works in the body from navel to perineum, urinary system, reproductive system, kidneys and large intestine. This is the fourth life force. Then comes the last, or Vayan. Vayan is the fifth and the most integrated type of life force. It is of preservative nature. It flows in the different organs of the body through subtle energy channels, also known as nerves or nadi. It will start exiting, and the process continues from 11 to 14 days. That is why Hindus observe a 10th day ceremony and the 14th and the 13th day ceremony, during which the process of death is completed. At the time when the life force has exited the body, it has lived in the body for a certain period of time, there remains a particular connection between the life force and the body. Just as you had a car that you had been driving for the past 20 years. Now you happen to buy a new car. The old car is still there and new car is now come to the garage. You like the new car, but in between you will still not be able to sever your attraction, connection or emotions with the old car. You will again and again call, yes, although the new car has more features, it looks elegant, yet still I like my old car, it was a strong body, and so on and so forth. This is why at the time when the life force has exited the Saman Vayu, at that time those who are spiritual, who are spiritually advanced, their role is, because you have to talk to the life force just as the old car has to be disposed of. But the person who once owned the old car and now has the new car is torn between his love for the two. So he wants to keep the new car but does not want to leave the old one. This situation very often comes, whether it is car or whether. So in the same way, the life force, it has exited from Saman Vayu, has exited from the body, yet still it has this connection with the body and attraction. So it wants to re-enter, but it cannot re-enter. So that is why it is in certain traditions the body has to be disposed of or cremated within 1.5 to 4 hours. So that time, as an advanced soul, you have to communicate with the life force. Look, the body is no more alive. You have to sever your relation with it. So that time, just as when a new car came in, there was celebrations, there was felicitations. So, but normally we consider at the time of death crying as a very important feature, as if that shows that we were so much emotionally connected and there is a loss. But this creates a problem. It hinders the process of death to complete. So this is the last Vayan Vayu. It functions in different organs of the body through subtle energy channels or nadis. It will start exiting and the process takes place between 11 to 14 days. So the 10th day ceremony and the 13th day ceremony are very important in the process to continue happening to the body, like growth of the hair. During this period, it is observed that the hair continues to grow, nails continue to grow. Such is the case with the natural death and also with the feeble body. However, if a person dies of accident, life was vibrant before death. He died, but the body not completely crushed. In such a case, life force will continue to remain between 48 to 90 days. Till then, there are things that can be done. The question comes, what you can do for life. Your experience of death is that the person dies, but as far as the person is concerned, he has exited the body. The life force I'm talking about, the body is not you, it is the life force that is you. Life force has exited the body. Simply because he has exited the body, you have no business with it. You cannot recognize him without the body or the outer covering. And if he comes back in the bodiless consciousness, you cannot recognize. Instead, you will get frightened. Your relation with the person was that of body consciousness. If I disappear into the body and your recognition with me is that of the physical appearances, you recognize the body, you recognize the voice, but you do not have any connection with the energy field that the person occupies. Master occupies the energy field which is known as tawajjuh in Sufi terminology. So when you are sitting in meditation, eyes are closed, the physical connection, the connection of the sound disappears and you are in the great field of energy. Body is left behind. So too is the conscious intellect and discerning minds are left behind. In terms of the mind, just certain informations that have certain tendencies, natural tendencies, find expression in certain ways. Once there is no discerning mind, once there is no discerning mind, you can put a drop of happiness in the person and it multiplies million folds. So too is the case with unhappiness. If you add a drop of unhappiness, it will go on multiplying. It is like a child who goes on playing unconcerned of the time. These are the two states. When a drop of happiness is dropped, it multiplies multifold, and when a drop of unhappiness is poured into you, it multiplies million folds. These are the two states known as heaven and earth. Heaven and earth are not geographical locations as you understood with the word heaven and earth. There are certain things that can be done at a time, at different stages. The first thing is, in certain communities it is done at the time of death. Big toes are tied with a string. Big toes are connected to the soul, to the earth center or the first center or the base center or Mooladhara. It is at the moment of death. Although the body is getting cool, but this particular center still remains warm. It is connected to Mooladhara or the earth center. After death, the body temperature starts coming down, but Mooladhara still remains warm, and there is every possibility that life force can re-enter the body. The possibility exists, but it does not mean it enter. With tying the big toe, life force cannot re-enter. Exiting the life force happens, life force from the body completely. First the Saman Vayu, within 21 to 24 minutes it exits. The Pran Vayu takes 48 to 64 minutes. Then the Apan, the Udan Vayu takes the 8 to 12 hours. Then, so the process of death or release of the life force happens in the steps. So traditionally the body should be burned between 1.5 to 4 hours. You are emotionally connected to the person who has just died. Conscious mind is still expects miracle to happen. Such is human nature. Similar is the relationship between the body and the life force. Burial is not the best way to dispose of the body. Long ago, when the societies were agriculture based, the body was buried in the field itself, and they said that the body was nourished by the food, agriculture growth from the field, so it needs to be cremated in that area. The function, the Bayan Vayu, which is the last, is an alternative system which facilitates the reserve force into those areas where it is deficient. It provides necessary nutrients to be needed by the different organs. This is how the process of death takes place, and the life force exists in stages from different parts of the body. As it has taken enough time, I will not go into that process, how an awakened master entered into the process of death. And he went on narrating how the life force is exiting from different parts of the body. I will speak on this. It is important because I have had the first-hand experience of this process when Lalaji Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anu or Ramchandra, Naqshbandi Sheikh, entered into death or samadhi or nirvana. When one enters the life force, one enters death consciously, the process is known as samadhi or nirvana. But there are different stages in nirvana as well for the process of death to complete. Only this much for this morning. Until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant day.